Hey, today we will be making a very typical Portuguese bread, Broa de Milho. It's a bread made out of corn flour and rye flour. So those are the ingredients. I will be making two breads. We will be using 500 grams of corn flour, 500 grams of rye flour, 200 grams of sourdough starter, 20 grams of salt, and 700 grams of water. I'm milling my corn flour and my rye flour. I just feel that this gives superior taste, but you can also just buy pre-milled flour, of course. Interestingly, rye flour has been brought to Portugal by Germanic tribes. Rye flour is a very typical flour for Germany and the Scandinavian people. You can adjust the ratio a little bit. You could also be using 70% corn flour, 30% rye flour. This depends on your personal preference. Now I'm just adding all the ingredients, and this bread is really super simple to make because there's almost no gluten inside, so we don't need to do any gluten development. Just add all the ingredients, stir them together, and you then just want to knead a little bit until you just homogenized the whole dough. So you want the corn flour to have spread evenly, you want the salt to have spread evenly, the rye to spread evenly, and so on. So it's very simple to make. I feel this is one of the most simple breads to make, actually. Also, in general, rye breads are very simple to make. You don't have to do any kneading and so on. So I'm just using my hands. I recommend you to use your hands as well, because this way you get a much better feeling for the dough. At the start, it's sticky, but then over time, it becomes less sticky. I'm just increasing the speed here. I think I've been kneading this for around 3 minutes. Alright, so I don't want you to get bored. Next up, we will be covering the dough with a plastic bag. We don't want it to dry out, that's important. Alright, 6 hours have passed, or until your dough doubled in size. So I don't know exactly how warm it is in your temperature. Wait with this step until your dough doubled in size. I took some bannetons and I rice floured them, and now we need to take the broa dough and we will be dividing it into two pieces. I want to make two different shapes. I'm just trying to hit the middle and I failed, so yeah, those should be equal in size. I'm going slow-mo again here, well, regular speed, because I wanted to show you how to shape one of them. Use flour, this is important. You don't want your dough to stick. This dough is really a messy dough. It sticks a lot. So use more flour, that's totally good. Try not to use rye flour here because rye flour is not really going to help. I'm using wheat flour here. And then just roll your dough a little bit like this until it looks more or less like a bread. This is the size of the banneton. In this case, it would be a batard. Now gently rub some more flour on it and then put it into your banneton. I have it rice floured. Rice flour works excellent because it's going to absorb all that excess moisture from your dough. Sprinkle it again because we don't want the plastic container to stick to your dough. Speeding things up, this is going to be the round dough, a boule, basically. Add some more flour again and into the banneton. Now make sure that you cover them up. You don't want them to dry out. That's very important. And I'm putting them into the fridge now for 24 hours. So next up, my beautiful fridge. Oh, and here they are. Sorry for the mess. And let's get started with baking them. So those are the doughs. 24 hours later, you can see that they cracked open already. Very typical for the Broa de Milho. That's because there's no gluten inside. I'm baking them in a Dutch oven. I preheated them to maximum temperature, turn them around, place them, remove the banneton. This is really good. This is an excellent way. It's very gentle. You don't need to use parchment paper. Gently spread the flour again so that we don't have large chunks of flour somewhere. Cover this up and we will be baking it half the time with the lid covered, then half the time without the lid. You could also just bake it on a stone or on a tray, but then you need to have a lot of boiling water in your oven. So, and are you excited? Half time. This is how it looks after around half the time. It already cracked open really nicely. Good looking broa. We will be putting it back into the oven because now we want it to get a little bit crispy. And for that, we remove the lid because now the humidity was able to escape and we're going to be having a lot of Maillard reaction. And this is it after another 20 minutes, looking excellent. Let me show you the next one. One more time. Here it doesn't really fit. Should have used a round Dutch oven, but it was preheated, so I just used this one. Take it, flip it around, and same procedure. Gently brush off some of that excess flour. Looking good. No scoring needed for this one. Normally you would take a knife and cut it, but this is not needed because of the low gluten. It's going to crack anyways. So no scoring needed. So even simpler. And half time, look at how nicely it cracked open. I'm gonna give it another 20 minutes bake, a little bit longer than on the other one. And now it looks slightly darker. Two beautiful broas. And now, let me show you. Look at the bottom. Oh, such a nice crust. We will be taking the knife and we will be cutting this open. Let's have a look at the crumb. It's a very, very dense crumb. It's enjoyed with soup, for instance. Caldo verde, that's a really nice Portuguese soup. And look at our rustic broa. I'm very happy with the result. Let's finish this up with a couple of more pictures. And another picture of the crumb. Look at this nice looking dense crumb. I love the milled corn. It just looks so good. And here again, all the breads together. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the video.